Christmas that keeps on giving. Not only do the Eagles have a chance to win the division, clinch home field throughout the playoffs, but they also have a chance of having 2 1,000-yard wide receivers and 3 defensemen with 10-plus sacks. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're hanging in there. So not only do the Eagles this Christmas Eve have the chance to clinch the division, clinch home field advantage, but they have a chance to add another 1,000-yard wide receiver in DeVonta Smith and another 10-plus sack defenseman in Josh Sweat. That is simply unheard of, unbelievable, and we're going to get into it in just a second. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the most censored, throttled Eagles content creator on the internet right here. So we need all the help we can get. And if you've been subscribed for a while, just double check. Double moonwalk check. Make sure you're still subscribed. Now, we're going to just jump right into this mud humper because there's a lot going on, all right? The first thing I want to talk about is, did you guys happen to see this story about Doug Peterson, right? An Eagles employee sent Doug Peterson and Jaguars cheesesteaks for win over the Cowboys. Goes on to say that they sent a bunch of cheesesteaks and some fries as a thank you for beating the Dallas Cowboys. To me, I guess it's a nice thought. Obviously, Doug is beloved in Philly. Doug is still loved within the organization. And yeah, we can actually be very thankful and happy that Doug did that because it took a lot of pressure off of us, especially with this Hurts thing going on with his shoulder. It took the pressure off the Eagles. All the pressure is now on the Dallas Cowboys. That's kind of how I see it. And speaking of the Cowboys game, I don't think this is good news, okay? But I want to talk about this. So apparently, there's a referee, Alex Kemp. And Alex Kemp him and his officiating crew did the Eagles-Washington game where they missed Dallas Goedert getting face masks. And, it wasn't a great referee game. I'm not going to say that's why we lost. But it wasn't officiated well, in my opinion. It seemed like the Washington got a lot of breaks that shouldn't have happened. Well, anyways, I don't think this is good news. It looks like Alex Kemp and his staff, his crew, is going to be doing the Eagles-Cowboys game this Christmas Eve, okay? And this comes from Bleeding Green Nation and also Jimmy Kempski, okay? What they say is Alex Kemp is the name of the head of the crew. The Eagles are 1-2 in 3 games that Kemp has served as the referee. Here's a look at the history. He refereed and his crew refereed the Eagles at Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 2 of the 2018 season, loss. The Eagles at the Giants Week 17 of the 2019 season, win. They clinched the division. And then the Eagles versus Washington Commanders Week 10 of the 2022 season, which was a loss. The Eagles were penalized more often than their opponent in each of those 3 matchups. So, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. It's not, to me, it's not the fact that we lost one, lost one. To me, it's why is he calling more penalties on us all the time? So something maybe we don't want to talk about, but something maybe we got to watch out for, We're going to have to watch out for it. Look, the Cowboys are going to do everything they can to beat us. They're going to do everything they can. And when it comes to this game, let's face it, right? The Eagles have to win one of the next 3 games. Just one of them. Just one of them. But if I had to choose which one to win, it's this game. I want to beat Dallas. I want to sweep Dallas. Do you know how great that would be to sweep Dallas and win the division, clinch home field, and then be able to rest your guys and stuff like that? So I want to beat Dallas, no question about it. It's just that this game is not as important as it would have been if Dallas, was only 2 games behind us with 3 games left to play. It's a lot different story than being 3.5 games behind you with 3 games to play. But it is what it is. And The Eagles can clinch the division. They can clinch home field advantage. They could do all those things. But we got to talk about some players and some things going on with this team because there's a lot of records being set. There's a lot of things going on. Let's start with Josh Sweat, okay? Josh Sweat, he has 30 solo tackles this year, 9.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Josh Sweat is only 25 years old. He's getting better every year. And right now, we can say that Josh Sweat has already outplayed the contract he's got. I saw a whole thing on this, and they were talking about the value of his contract, and they were saying that he really was getting paid in his contract to get about 7 to 8 sacks a year. Okay, that's what they were paying him for. He has a chance for double digits. So Josh Sweat is having a fantastic year. And if he has a half a sack versus the Dallas Cowboys, then he will have double-digit sacks. Now, why is this important, in my opinion? Because we have to go back to Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Clyde Simmons, that defensive line, which to me, I believe, of course, Reggie's already a Hall of Famer. I believe Clyde Simmons deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think Jerome Brown, if he would have played longer, he would have been a Hall of Famer as well. That's the greatest defensive line I've ever seen, that line, okay? Jerome, Clyde Simmons, and Reggie White all had 10 sacks in the same year once, okay? It's happened before. But it looks like it's going to happen to the Eagles again. Hassan Reddick has 12. Javon Hargrave has 10. And like I said, Josh Sweat has 9.5. Half sack more, then we once again have 3 defensive linemen with 10-plus sacks. And it gets even better. It gets even better because Brandon Graham has 8.5 sacks. Brandon Graham needs 1.5 sacks over the next 3 games, and he will have double-digit sacks. That would give you 4 defensive players with 10-plus sacks in the same season. I don't think that's ever happened before. Okay, that's how dominating this defensive line has been lately. Absolutely unbelievable. So we got to keep our eye out for that because I would love for Josh Sweat to get double-digit sacks against the Dallas Cowboys. Also, one thing I don't think the Eagles ever had, I can't ever remember them having it. The Eagles have never had 2 1,000-yard wide receivers, okay? We've never had it. And this year, we've got one already, right? We have A.J. Brown. He's got 74 catches, 1,201 yards. He has 10 touchdowns himself. And then you have, right behind him, you have DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith has 71 catches. So you have A.J. Brown with 74 catches. You have DeVonta Smith with only 3 less catches, okay? Now, he's got less yards per catch, but he still has 901 yards on the season. So, if DeVonta Smith goes out in the next 3 games and gets 99 yards, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen, that would put him over 1,000 yards on the season. Never happened in Eagles history. This could very well happen this week versus the Dallas Cowboys. A big game for DeVonta Smith, and he will go over 1,000 yards. And this is why I say the Eagles have the best 2 wide receivers in the division. If you said to me, all right, give me the top 2 wide receivers in your division with all the teams, I'm gonna say A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. Now I know McLaurin's very good, and if you want to put him up there, I'm not gonna fight with you. But he's better than CeeDee Lamb. DeVonta Smith is better than CeeDee Lamb. Let's just be honest. Okay? CeeDee Lamb may have bigger numbers, but they have nobody else to throw to but CeeDee Lamb. The Eagles and Jalen Hurts has to spread the ball out. I mean, this is why I don't understand what people call him, game manager and stuff like that. This guy spreads the ball out. You have 74 catches for A.J. Brown. You have 71 catches for DeVonta Smith. How is that a game manager? Somebody tell me. I don't get it. But 99 yards and A.J. Brown goes over 1,000. So what I would love to see, and what my dream scenario is the Eagles blow this team out and Josh Sweat gets a couple sacks. Brandon Graham gets a couple sacks, and then DeVonta Smith, he has over 100 yards, receiving maybe a touchdown, and gets over 1,000 yards. I mean, those are unheard of things that are happening to the Eagles this year. This team is loaded. this team is really talented, and I can't wait to see how this thing's going to unfold, especially in the playoffs. But DeVonta Smith is worth every penny of being that first-round pick. DeVonta Smith is a stud. A.J. Brown is a stud. And then when you look at Hassan Reddick worth every penny, okay? And then Brandon Graham, to me, like, I would consider him comeback player of the year, or at least a candidate. This is a guy that had a torn Achilles, okay? Usually you don't get, that's hard to come back from. And as a defensive lineman who is older, to come back from that, I think that's pretty special, man. I just do. He's had a hell of a year. So shout out to Brandon Graham. Josh Sweat about to say his career year. I think they said the Eagles have had like 20 sacks in the last 3 games. They're going off, and we're going to need them to go off this Saturday night, Christmas Eve, versus the Dallas Cowboys. So, while you're watching the game and you're worried, you want to win a division, you want to win a home field advantage, keep an eye out on DeVonta Smith and Josh Sweat, both getting ready to do something for the Eagles that would be very hard to do, and it's only been done once in terms of having 3 guys with 10-plus sacks in a season, and never when you look at the wide receiver position and having 2 1,000-yard wide receivers. But this team is that good, and they're that talented. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat, and remember, how we vision. We're all just living in it. I'll tell you what, the clock is going slow. Today, later today, 6 o'clock tonight, I officially end my diet, my keto diet, through Christmas, until Christmas is over. I get a few days off, and what am I waiting for? You know it. I'm waiting to pour a big-ass glass, about that big, of eggnog. It is almost eggnog time, yo, and I'm ready for it. Denzel Washington out.